you can stream. Hey, everybody, we are here, episode 2. Dina, you can go ahead and stream while we're heading live too. It doesn't matter.
Yes, I'm going
Guys,
to.
welcome back to Unfiltered Desire, smashing sex stigmas with Tobi and Dina. We are here for episode 2. We love you. We're grateful for you that you've tuned in to hear us again another day. And I hope you'll join us every Thursday at 12. Who am I? I'm Tobi Staples. I'm a self-mastery mentor, but I'm going to hand it off to Dina, who's the sex coach, but I'll let her introduce herself. Dina, take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dina Alexander, and I am a personal coach, a relationship coach, and a sex coach, intimacy coach. Why I chose this path? It's needed because there's a lot of taboo, and because of those taboos, there are so many divorces, so many problem in menopause and medical problems because you are not taking care of yourself in that area, and that's the reason why.
Well said. And you know what? It's so true. And when there's no pleasure involved and it becomes a chore, there's a really big problem. And that's where that gap starts in relationships, where there's no communication. And then it starts to get that hiccup path. And that's where, things start to happen. So today's episode, we're talking about the big O.
Yes.
And the truth about it. Dina, you want to start off our episode today?
Yes, of course. Let me stop streaming. I can stream only onto YouTube, but it's okay. So I love this topic. It's my thing. We are going to dive deep in this today. We are going to talk about the myths, the shame, the misinformation. We have been entertaining this mediocrity for too much, too long. Okay, so we are going to talk about orgasms. So the big O, like Tobi said, what we get wrong, what we never learned, and how to reclaim that passion of the pleasure back. Okay, that is the most powerful form for liberation as a woman. I like men because if I have a client, a masculine client, a male client, I don't have to ask him, have you masturbated? I'm sure he did it in the morning. But a lady woman comes here with all of her illnesses and pains and everything, her frustrations. And then I ask her, when was the last time you orgasm? And then she'll need to think hard because she cannot remember the last time she got a big O. So that it is a problem. Okay, so that's why we're here to talk about the history. Why am I or is Tobi so excited when we talk about this? Because there is a history. The reason why of vibrators, for example. Okay, when I start my events, I do ask, do you guys know the history of vibrators? So do you know the history of vibrators, Tobi? Would you like to share that with us?
Well, yeah, they came about because of hysteria. It was a medical condition where women were sent to the doctor to be masturbated by the doctor and by his own hand until the doctors got tired of making women come. So they built a device to do it. And, come on. Like, where does that make sense that a man is sending his wife to the doctor to get her off? You see, and this is where the stigma and the shame and the silencing started with. Like, yeah. And why men feel, hey, they are incapable, and the communication gap started centuries ago.
Yes, totally with you. Totally. That's the reason why we have vibrators. And the first vibrator came out of a doctor's office. Okay, it was a bed with something in the middle that the women can sit on it, and it was generated by a steam engine, so that the women can get their orgasms and release those oxytocin hormone. And these
Too
are
bad they
very
don't
good.
make them like that anymore.
No,
Sorry.
no, you can have them as small as a nail. Okay, so you can have them as a chain, a beautiful, sexy chain for you to wear in the night in the disco. So now we have that it became modern, more modern, but we do still have women that they are afraid, and they don't know the reason why you have to use vibrators. Okay, because
Right.
the oxytocin is very important, and it's a happy hormone. It's a hormone that when you are in pain, it will take that away. It helps you against depression. It helps you be more focused. It helps you. It's a happy hormone. Okay, and if it takes away migraine, it lowers high blood pressure. It takes away cholesterol. There are so many women with cortisol bellies, not enough vitamins. That's why I supplement also. I help my clients with supplements. That is the reason why getting an orgasm will also help you lower your cortisol, and those big bellies will also um, go away. Okay, so today, before we continue, you want to share something, Toby?
You know what? I love the topic. And you know what? I love what you've said. And it's really true. It's really true. And the more you participate in with your, listen, an orgasm releases so much great stuff for your body, puts you back in alignment, releases all the stress, gets you like, yeah, in total realignment. And, you know, I loved how you put it. But Dina, go for it. Let's continue.
Yes. Let's be real, Toby. The fact that so many women struggle to climax isn't just a personal problem, it's a societal one, I think.
Yes,
Well,
because it's
mhm,
one style, it's chained to stigma because it's been made to believe that self, let's say self-pleasuring is a sin.
yes,
So right there, when you have been made to believe that all your life, well, then you're not going to admit that you do it. You're going to frown upon it on yourself. Like I've been with men that denied even masturbating, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with you? That's the problem. You better like you know, there were so many things like, and then I've got other people that guys that tell me, well, I masturbate before I see any woman because I want to last longer. But women don't do that. They don't engage in any kind of, they depend on it. First of all, they depend on a man to get them off, when nobody, you shouldn't be depending on anybody to get you off. You should be, that's something that you hit inside of you, and it's enhanced by everything else that you're interacting and connecting with. So the huge, like, why women are still even chasing a climax, it's because they're denying themselves of it to begin with. They're unaware that that's what they truly need, because they believe that the shame and the guilt and the stigmatized everything that they believe about it locks them away from it, or even exploring it, or even, you know, finding whatever will enhance it for them.
yes. I love it. I love how you said it. It's perfect. Toby, I think it's rather a lack of education.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's a cultural conditioning. Or, yeah, as you said, also, our partners who simply don't put in effort. The truth is, women are experiencing way less pleasure than they should be. So, today, now, we are breaking down why this gap exists and how we can close it for good. Okay? So, one of those lies, I think, I can't, I, every time I have such a podcast with this topic or an event on orgasm, I always say this. Um, there is a goal oriented lie. How many of us has been conditioned to think that sex is only successful if someone gets an orgasm. Okay? It's a lie. That is no big finish. However, and some things is a failure. Okay? And it kills the intimacy. You need to have intimacy to it will be you'll get deeper and better orgasm when you have that intimacy. So you need to know when and where, and don't be goal oriented, because you'll only get short and quick orgasms. And if you take time for your intimacy and don't be goal oriented, then you will fall into more deeper, juicier, longer orgasm. So what comes up now in you, Toby? Have I opened a Pandora box?
You know what? It's so true. And I like how Al says women's libido normally come later. Actually, Al, that's a myth also, because we all reach pleasure point according to stimulation and according to where we take ourselves within ourselves. And sex is more of a mental and sensual thing than it is a physical thing. The physical thing brings the bang at the end, but the sensual pleasure part begins even with the communication. And if you want to work up to good sex that night, that begins in the morning with your partner with the play all day. You see, people believe that sex is just that point of entrance, but it's the farthest thing from it. That's the point of where it will lead to an end. But the beginning starts where that sensuality of connection starts. You know, the little tants and the taunts and the flirtatious ways and the buildup. If there's no buildup, there's no point.
No.
You see, this is why I say I will not waste my time in any kind of sexual interactions that are not pleasurefully building to the point of fireworks, because I am educated and experienced enough within my own body and in sexual experience to know that, listen, that bend over and bang business is the worst thing for any kind of woman. And that's what most women experience. Why? Because nobody communicates with clarity about pleasure anymore.
Yes, I'm totally with you. And some when you hear us talking like this and your fetish is bending over and do the wham bang thank you ma'am, go and do it, because it's your fetish. You need to, that is your appetite. But we are talking about the majority of women that needs a longer um, foreplay. Okay,
Yeah.
what does L say? They need to
Oh,
be aroused. Oh, it went away.
sorry.
They need, no, it's okay. They need to be aroused and need foreplay first before orgasm comes. Yes, yes. Because I usually say, if you as a man is not aware of this and you prefer to do the wham bam thank you man, you need to be making love with another male, not with a woman. But you like women, then you need to change your tactics to for both partners to get that pleasure. Okay, I love it, L. So
Yeah,
can we come? So go ahead.
you know, I don't knock the wham bam thank you man, because I went through a period in my life when I was in utter chaos, and I'll be very straight when I say it. All I wanted was to get fucked. I didn't care what face was attached. Give it to me hard, give it to me good, give it to me fast, and get over it quick. Let's go. Like, that's just, but that's at that point, I was in survival. I couldn't enjoy. I couldn't be pleasured by it. There was a purpose, and it was just to relieve tension. But now, being who I am, I know the difference.
Yes, yes, and that's maturing. That's going into the human side of us and using the energy also. So we will get there. So I want, before we get to the energy part, because the time is not waiting on us. Porn, porn versus reality. If your only sex education came from porn, if you're listening to me and your only sex education came from porn, chances are you've been misled. The reality is that porn doesn't just shape expectations, it can distort them in ways that leave people feeling inadequate, disconnected, and pressured to perform rather than experience real pleasure, sensuality, and connection. So, we are unpacking that fantasy versus reality looks like. So we need to rewrite these narratives of for ourselves, okay, because we are human, we are not animals. So I would
You
like
know,
to know
you
what
know
comes
what?
up.
You know what, Dina? I was on a live podcast, a live TikTok, not last 2 nights ago. He's got this guy from Toronto. I just crossed paths with him. And the point of it all is because he's got a sex talk. And I jumped on his panel and I sat there and stayed on the live with them the whole time. And I discussed with men and women. Do you know that most men, that's where their sexual education has come from?
Yeah.
Nobody has spoken to them, educated them. That is how they learned. I didn't even know that. And these young men in their 30s and 40s, well, I say young men because I'm 50 now, were expressing how much they lacked the intimacy and pleasure point and the communication of it all because they had only learned from porn. And it was so much of a distortion versus the reality of how things work that when they actually had a woman's parts in their face, they had no idea what to do with it.
Yes. Yes,
And
true.
all of the stigma and the shame attached to it. There was one topic that was brought up, particularly that men were taught in porn that it was okay to give oral sex to a woman, but yet they were shamed for it in their societies and in their friend groups and their things. And that if they were associated to doing that, like they were shamed for it. But now they've realized as men that that was a huge part of being intimate with their partner and bringing her to orgasm.
Yes. Yes, I love it. We're going deeper.
I was blown away at how much men out there now are actually out there talking about, hey, listen, we only learn from porn. Women, give us a break. Teach us. Like these men were saying, women, please open up and talk about this sexuality. Please tell us because this is how we did learn and it's not the truth.
Yes. Yes, I love it because I think now I love that I'm now alive on the earth, because a lot of men are being more aware that they want deeper connections, and it's juicier and it's better than the other one. Okay. I like it. Maybe the next topic should be something like that. But let's continue. Sexual energy, because the time flies. Ah,
Yes.
wow. Sexual energy and manifestation. Okay, here is something a lot of people don't talk about because they you don't see it. And I think we need to talk about it because we are humans and an animal cannot feel it, cannot see it, or make or create things, but we can. So orgasms are more than just physical pleasure and releasing oxytocin. They are energy, they are power. In some cultures, orgasmic energy is considered a form of creation, manifestation. Okay, a way to heal and awaken deeper parts of yourself. Toby, imagine what could happen if we viewed orgasm not just as a fleeting moment, but a gateway to transformation. Can you imagine? Hey, I will tell you, Toby, wait, I need 40 minutes because I need a lot. I need 40 minutes because I need to create something. Then I'll come back and we'll talk. So something like that.
What do you mean?
You should.
I implement that in my life, but it
Yes.
only takes me 2 minutes because I'm intense.
Yeah.
But yes, come on, it does produce healing and manifestation. And that's the
Yeah.
easiest way to do it. Everything happens in energy before it happens in this reality. And you're using your willpower center to actually infuse the creation of the pleasure center and the release into the root. So when you're releasing into the root of the reality.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's how powerful it is for manifestation. And for healing, hey, you can manifest anything through an orgasmic, euphoric moment.
Yes. Perfect. Love it. So, Toby, you mentioned something about 2 minutes, and I mentioned something of 40 minutes. Both are good. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to share something? Go ahead.
Well, no, you know what? Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Me, I
Yes.
just know myself so much. Like I resurrected my body from the dead. I know every square inch of my body and what it needs at every breathing moment. That's why it's different for me. But I know that you're a pleasure coach. So you love to enhance the pleasure. So
Oh,
that's why it lasts that long. Of
no.
course, I get that. So
Yeah.
audience understand that too. Me, I could get the most firework pleasure out of 2 minutes. I bring that energy to anything I do. So if it's an orgasm, imagine my energy and I put my energy into my own orgasm. You don't think that's a guaranteed win? Of course it is.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's what I wanted to talk about. Everybody needs to know their own bodies. Okay, and it's a choice. Everybody can get an orgasm in a couple of seconds, in minutes, and everybody, if you know your body and you want to take, in my case, it that moment for me is sacred, and I do take time in everything, and I don't get one orgasm, 100 something. So it's a choice how you want to make love to yourself, um, and do the self pleasure part in your take time for yourself in your life. It's you choose what is the best way. Okay, I want to talk about pleasure as power. Okay, um, the historical suppression of pleasure, especially for women. Let's talk about that. Why has pleasure been seen as taboo? Why has female sexuality been controlled, feared, or hidden? Why? Because when people understand their pleasure, like we just spoke about, they understand their power. And power threatens the status quo. We are breaking this down and showing why reclaiming pleasure is an act of rebellion. So, what open up now?
Well, you know what? Put it this way. I, with everybody who follows the status quo, they look at me like I am the one that does not. And I don't. I don't conform. I really don't to what anybody expects from me. I need to feel powerful in myself and in my expansion in the love that fuels me. And that I flow into the world in every idea, thought, word that I speak. And that is the only thing that I need to remain pleasured in that power of knowing. I can't be suppressed. All of the women in my lineage, when I think about it, were silenced, suppressed, stigmatized, shamed, and even one of my aunts locked up for 25 years, claimed crazy because she loved to be pleasured by life and pleasure her own ways. So,
Yes.
no, now that we can break free of it all, let's do it.
Yes. I love it. It opened up something in me when you spoke like that, because the women of color, some of them, some people, I was talking to a guy, I think 2 weeks ago, and he said, I don't want women of color because they think they are men. And it's something, and I told him, look, maybe that's why I coach, Because maybe some men should put themselves in the shoes of the women instead of judging them. A lot of women, I'm not talking, I'm not making of trying to say that it's okay to be a man instead of a woman, because you are in a woman's body. You need to be nurturing, you need to be lovable, you, you need to know how to love yourself. But I did tell the male, instead of labeling women, because some of us are very nurturing, women of color, you should um, think why they become like that. Okay, what? Because the majority of women of color are single, they have babies, they are raped, they had to see their men get raped and beaten. So it is something that in our DNA, it goes way further than us at this moment. Okay, so it's good that we are bringing this. And
Yes.
there's a reason why I know I'm also a women of color, because I need to help these women to reach a certain point where they can use their intimacy, their sensuality, their sexuality as their power. Okay, so what did L say? Ignite a match and explode in firework body talks. What comes up, Toby?
You know what? I do believe that, look, there has been a real attack on women's pleasure by the powers and principalities that be. And there's a lot of things that have stopped women's pleasure, whether it be religious views, societal norms, whether it be female mutilation, whether it be all kinds of things. Listen, there's a lot of things that have to stop in this world, and pleasure and power have to come back to the divine feminine, who is rising up right now in the new earth frequency. And you know what? That's why it's so important to come out here and give the power back to all by speaking. And that is the one thing that we've been silenced from it. So just by speaking about it breaks those invisible chains. And I encourage you all to come out next week for our next episode and catch what we'll be talking about next. Dina, I'm so grateful that we're doing this because it's for all women and all men. We need to break the chains of silencing and smash those sex stigmas.
Yes. Yes. So before we go, who profits from your shame? If you're listening to us, my question to you is, who profits from your shame? Who benefits when you feel disconnected from your body? Who profits when you doubt yourself, silence your desire, and feel ashamed about pleasure? From beauty industry to media narratives, there are systems in place that strive off of your disempowerment. Here's the truth. When you take back your pleasure, you take back your autonomy. And no beauty industry or everything else out there can shame you or make you feel bad, because you are your power. That I wanted to close off that like
Yes.
this, because I
You
think
know
that's
what?
important.
And I'm really grateful you did because you know something? I'm going to speak freely to everybody watching us. Stop shaming your own body. Don't let anything shame you, but you got to stop shaming you first to make that happen. There is no shame in pleasure. There is only pleasure. There is no fear in pleasure. There is only pleasure. Make sure that you're enhancing your life. And hey, if you need supplements or any kind of coaching, reach out to Dina. Eh? She's got the supplements to enhance that big time.
Yes,
Guys,
yes,
we thank you
yes.
though. Honestly, I'm grateful for everybody. Dina, I'm so grateful for you. We want to wrap up and then I'll wrap it up.
Yes. Before we go, I do believe in tools, and one of the tools that I use are supplements, meditation, and breathing techniques. But the supplements are for me very important, because our food does not have the nutrients necessary for you to be relaxed, to have the energy, to have the intimacy that you need to take care of yourself and your intimacy and your partner, etc., etc. So that's why I use supplements. And if you want to know more, I have the link in the caption. And if you want to know more about how to use them, please, I will be coaching that also.
Great. Another great episode, Dina. It's always a pleasure. Everybody, guys, if you haven't checked out the F.L.O.W shop, go and get your F.L.O.W gear today. F.L.O.W, feel love over worry. You got t-shirts, you got tights, you got bags, you got everything. Go get your F.L.O.W gear. And go get your F.L.O.W, Feel Your Love Over Worry book. And everybody, guys, we'll see you next week. We love you. We thank you. And all of the links are in the description of the video where you can find us. Until next week. We love you. Bye.